Hey there, everybody. It's Lee. It is Sunday morning, and I'm going to do the daily briefing real quickly here. It's an interesting 3-day weekend right now. President's Day. The president did the big rally in Florida yesterday. DC is very interesting right now because that's where I am. A lot of tourists in town. It's nice weather. It's in the 60s, and so because of the 3-day weekend, a lot of tourists have come out. That's very, very interesting. It was cold, very cold a couple of days ago. But let me talk about this because I do want to apologize. Shane came out a couple of days ago. The goal on Friday was to get an apartment. We did that. Saturday we kind of had to get moved in a little bit more. We had to go to Target and get toilet paper and stuff like that. Basic, with bins for our clothes and extra towels and stuff like that. Let me tell you about the apartment and why we went there. So I mentioned before, I use WeWork as the co-working space. That's where I am right now, Citizen Journalism School's offices. They have an apartment building called We Live in Crystal City, Virginia, which is about 2 miles from the White House. It's about 12 minutes from my office if traffic's good. So it's a great location. Close to the metro, but also I can take Uber in. And We Live is an interesting co-living space. Very small apartment, very compact, like it's a studio-size apartment, but completely furnished, and big common areas for the kitchen, for just hanging out and stuff like that. The first night we moved in Friday, we met our neighbors, and they're doing entrepreneurial stuff involving coffee and stuff that relates to the ketogenic diet. Very, very interesting. So anyway, it's expensive, but it's cheaper than hotels, and it's cheaper than an apartment. But DC is very expensive, and it was just like a huge commitment to do that. I've not been back home to the upper Midwest where I live in a long time, in 3 weeks now. Shane's going to stay out here in DC, and I'm going to go back and forth a little bit more than Shane does, but Shane will stay out here in the DC area. I'm going to head back at some point, probably right after CPAC, see the wife and kids for a few days, and then come back. But for you, so that's sort of what's been going on with things. But for you, here's the lesson. I have benefited greatly from thinking about stuff the following way as a journalist. Where should I be right now? I have periodically asked myself, where should I be? Where is the place where the most interesting story that I can have the most impact on is? That's why I went to Lebanon. That's why I went to Steubenville. That's why I went on the Pigford story, all sorts of things. The answer is going to be different for you than it will be for me, as it will be for any journalist. But the main reason I moved to DC is I believe that this is the most important place for me to be right now. And that may change in a year or 3 months or 2 years or 5 years. But right now, I believe with everything going on in the administration and with the battle between the media and the administration, this is the place for me to be. And so that's where I am. And so let me throw it to you, though, as a teacher. Where should you be right now? Don't give the easy answer. The easy answer is, well, I should be right where I am because I don't want to move or travel or go anyplace. Maybe that's the right answer. I don't know. But maybe it's not the right answer. Maybe the answer is you should be someplace. And my advice is figure out how to get there. And I've gotten very good at figuring out how to get where I need to go. And trains, planes, buses, automobiles, whatever. As I mentioned before, I've taken a plane ride to Lebanon to stay at a Airbnb apartment, or I've taken a Greyhound bus to go to Memphis, Tennessee, to stay again in an Airbnb apartment because they're cheap, or I've used Hotwire to book hotels, which I've done here in DC. And right now, the best place for me to be is here. But where's the best place for you to be? Might not be here. Might not be in the country. Right? I think the best place for me to be in a couple of weeks might be Macedonia. When I covered the radio show, we talked a little bit about somebody from Macedonia. And let me take it beyond geography for a second. Where's the best place for you to be platform-wise? I've made a decision in the past few weeks that the best place for me to be platform-wise is doing 2 or 3 periscopes a day on Twitter. And the best place for me to be platform-wise is doing the Citizen Journalism School stuff. And I believe that the best place for me to be long-term is on the radio. I think that's where I'm going to have the most impact. And that's caused some problems at Breitbart. That's caused some problems because they want me to write. And I've had to argue with them saying, I don't think that's the best place for me to be. And I don't think the people who have the most impact at Breitbart, people like Milo, people like Brandon, do that by writing the most. There's not a correlation between writing and their success. And I've talked about this. I love writing at Breitbart. There's no place else I would rather be writing right now. But I have to decide periodically, where do I need to be? And if I need to be on the radio 5 days a week, I need to figure out how to make that happen. And that's what I'm feeling like right now. I'm feeling like the best place for me to do the kind of journalism that I do might not be daily stories on Breitbart. Even though Breitbart today was just announced 29th most traffic site in the country. Huge site. Now, I'm not quitting Breitbart. I'm gonna actually dig in and kick ass now that we got the apartment settled in and write more. I'm gonna try to submit 1 or 2 stories a day to Breitbart again. But I'm just being honest. I don't know if that's the right place for me to be. Being on the radio felt great. Being on the radio felt like the feedback I was getting was great. And that's the conversation I'm having with them. But anyway, my point is not about me. If I tell these stories, it's because I want you to think about you. What's the right platform for you to be on right now? Is it Facebook? Is it doing blog posts? Is it writing letters? Is it starting petition campaigns? Is it doing undercover video like James O'Keefe does? Is it doing research-based stuff? You need to think about that. Does that make sense? I really want you to think about this. Where do you need to be? Now, if you have questions, ask them, okay? It's a 3-day weekend. It's a little bit weird. It's a time for me to do lessons. I got some good lessons for you coming up on research, on the technical stuff of doing interviews, on writing. Finally, we're going to get to some stuff on writing specifically. I think you'll like that. And that's all coming in the next couple of days. But anyway, that's what's going on. That's the daily briefing. Appreciate you being part of Citizen Journalism School. A lot more coming. Please send me your questions. Bye-bye.